From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. A local school district is working to return to normal after being faced with significant damage due to a severe weather event. DeLand-Weldon School Superintendent Dr. Michael Tresnick explains that just a few weeks ago, they were frantically moving items out of classrooms and trying to minimize water damage after part of the elementary school roof was damaged in a severe storm.
I guess it's been about 2 weeks. It was that Monday night. Our night custodian called me and he says, "Hey, I think we lost the roof on the elementary." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll be there." So I drove up here, and we, on the far corner of the elementary where most of our classrooms were, the tornado, we're pretty sure it was a tornado, at least the National Weather Service says it was, lifted off the membrane that's the top of the roof. It's the waterproofing part of the roof. Literally just like an onion, peeled it right off of the roof. And once that was gone, we had water coming in. And so 6 of our classrooms were water damaged quite extensively. So that Monday night, we actually had members from the community, members from the staff come in. This was like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And we worked till about 10 at night. We were able to then get everything moved out of those rooms into the hallways, into the dry section to try to save as much as we could save.
Dr. Tresnick states that after 2 days of hard work from the community, they were able to bring students back into the building and resume in-person education in other non-damaged classrooms.
And then over the next 2 days, the Tuesday and Wednesday, our staff came in, our custodians came in, and we were able to repurpose some of our other rooms that we use for specials, or we had a multi-purpose room that we could divide into 2. We were able to move all those classrooms into these other rooms, and by Thursday, we had kids back. I cannot say enough for the hard work of our staff during that time. It was amazing what we got done. And there was a point of pride with the staff, I think, when they said, "Hey, we just pulled this off. We don't know how we did it, but we pulled this off. We got everything moved." We had contractors in within a day to rip out all the wet ceiling tiles. So we got everything out of here that could have caused mold. We got it out within a day or 2. So that, again, by Thursday, we had kids here. It was kind of neat. I told the teachers, I said, "You know what? Have a field trip. Take them from your new classroom, take them down to the old classrooms and let them see what it looks like." And, the kids were in those classrooms. And it's like, "Oh, wow, what happened to our room?" I mean, we had just put in ceiling tiles last summer. And so here are all these ceiling tiles hanging and everything. I mean, it was pretty messed up.
The district is fortunate not to be taking a large financial hit due to the damage. Dr. Tresnick indicates that working with insurance has been easy. The roof is already repaired, and the calendar for the district only had to be pushed back by a single day.
But the good news is that our insurance carrier has been working very well with us. The roof has already been repaired. They finished that up earlier this week, so we're all buttoned up. We're in the process now of working with contractors, and we're going to get that all put back together. We'll be good by the start of next school year. But again, I can't say enough for what our staff did so that we could get the kids back in school within 2 days. It was just amazing. We ended up pushing everything back 1 day. So we originally were going to be done with the students in a week from today. Now we're going to be done with the students a week from Friday, and then the teachers will come back the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So in the grand scheme of things, a very minimal effect on our calendar.
Dr. Tresnick is very grateful to everyone involved in getting the district back on track as they finalize repairs and recover from the damage. Learn more about the DeLand-Weldon School District by finding dwschools.org or by finding the district on Facebook. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association. Aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
From the Heart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Brock Wilson went the distance as Clinton outlasted the Reign and Warrensburg-Latham 3-1 in a Central Illinois Conference High School Baseball Classic on Monday in Clinton. Wilson allowed just one hit, permitted 2 walks, and struck out 8 in a complete game, 1-run outing. He outdueled Trenton Bridges, who struck out 10 in 5 innings. Bridges permitted 3 runs, 2 were earned while walking 7 and allowing 2 hits. Wilson drove in 2 of the 3 Maroons' runs. Josh Bass hit a double, going 2 for 2. Nathan Southern had the only RBI for the Cardinals. Warrensburg-Latham goes to 17-7 overall and 7-2 in the Central Illinois Conference. They travel to Okaw Valley on Tuesday. The Maroons go to 18-12 overall and 8-1 in the Central Illinois Conference. They host Maroa Forsyth on Tuesday. Normal Community clinched its 3rd straight Big 12 Conference championship on Monday afternoon as the Ironmen made easy work of Bloomington High School 12-0 at Bloomington High School in Big 12 Conference high school baseball action. Kyle Glass struck out 6 across 7 shutout innings, allowing 3 hits and walking 1. The Ironmen scored 6 in the first inning, capped by a 2-run triple from Josh Jones. Max Heineman was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Gavin Michaels, Owen Knox, and Andre Nauer drove in runs for Normal Community. The Ironmen go to 30-2 overall and are 17-1 in the Big 12. They visit Lincoln Way East on Wednesday. Peoria Richwoods scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to walk off Normal West 4-3 in Big 12 Conference high school baseball action on Monday afternoon in Peoria. It was a 2-run double that ended the game for the Knights. Richwoods won a Friday afternoon thriller 1-0 in 10 innings in Normal. The Knights spoiled a stellar outing from Mason Aislinger, who spun 5 innings of 2-run ball, allowing 5 hits, no walks, and striking out 6. Riley Larkin led the Wildcats, finishing 2 for 4 with all 3 RBIs and a triple. Sam McCulley was 1 for 4 with a double. Kalen Ritter was 2 for 3. Normal West goes to 20-11 overall and finishes 12-5 in the Big 12. They host Mount Zion on Thursday. In high school softball regional quarterfinal scores from yesterday of the games that were able to play in Class 1A, the 7th-seeded Cerro Gordo took down the 10th-seed Georgetown Ridge Farm 18-2. While the 7th-seeded Champaign St. Thomas More beat the 10th-seeded Blue Ridge 12-1, and the 5th-seeded Decatur St. Teresa had a high-scoring victory over the 11th-seeded Heritage 35-16. In high school softball regional quarterfinal makeup games for today, The 9th-seeded Gibson City Melvin Sibley goes to the 8th-seeded Armstrong, while the 7th-seeded Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond hosts 10th-seeded Martinsville. In Class 2A, the 9th seed Clinton will play the 8th-seeded Maroa Forsyth. Maroa Forsyth will technically be the home team, but the game is scheduled to be played at Clinton High School. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. First pitch is 4:30 p.m. The 8th-seeded Paxton Buckley Loda will host the 9th-seed El Paso Gridley, while the 10th-seeded Shelbyville goes to 8th-seeded Sullivan. All of those make up games at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. In high school softball regional semifinal matchups tonight, the 4th-seeded Central A&M goes to 6th-seeded Altamont at 6 p.m., while the 2-seed Hayworth plays 7th-seeded Champaign St. Thomas More at Iroquois West at 4:30. The 3-seed Salt Fork will take on 5th-seeded Decatur St. Teresa at Villa Grove at 6 p.m., while the 2-seed Villa Grove will play host to the 7th-seeded Cerro Gordo at 4:30. In Class 2A, the 2nd-seeded Monticello plays the 7th-seed Oakwood at Bloomington Central Catholic at 4:30 p.m. Then the 4th-seeded St. Joseph Ogden will play the 5th-seed Tri-Valley at Maroa Forsyth at 6:30 p.m. And the 4th-seeded Warrensburg-Latham takes on the 5th-seed Auburn at Rochester at 5:30 p.m. Touted prospect Colt Emerson launched a 3-run homer for his first major league hit, and the Seattle Mariners stopped a 3-game slide Monday night with a 6-1 victory over the Chicago White Sox.
Noah Schultz was better Monday night, making his 7th career start for the White Sox, but the offense was handcuffed by Mariners starter Brian Wu. Schultz pitched into the 6th, striking out 6 without walking anybody, and Tristan Peters started a streak in this one as well.
Peters hits one high in the air out into right, and it is gone. He hit his first career homer yesterday. He's got number 2 tonight, and they're on the board.
2 straight games with a home run for Peters, but it was not enough as the Mariners' top prospect Colt Emerson connected for his first career hit, a home run to blow the game open. Sox fall 6-1. Game number 2 in Seattle Tuesday night. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 8 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The Sox and the Mariners are back on WHOW tonight as Chicago attempts to even the series. Pregame starts at 8 p.m. Jake Bauers homered and drove in 4 runs, and the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Chicago Cubs 9-3 on Monday night in the first meeting this season between the longtime NL Central rivals. Christian Yelich went deep for the second straight day as Milwaukee used a 13-hit attack to improve to 9-2 in its last 11 games. Andrew Vaughn had 2 hits and scored twice. Milwaukee pulled within a half game of Chicago for the division lead. The Brewers won the Central in 2025 for the 3rd consecutive year and then eliminated the Cubs in a 5-game NL Division Series. Chicago lost for the 7th time in 9 games. The Cubs had won 15 in a row at home for their longest win streak at Wrigley Field since an 18-game run in September of 1935. Cubs lefty Shoto Imanaga, who is 4-4, was tagged for 8 runs and 9 hits in 4 1/3 innings in his worst start of the season. He allowed a total of 8 earned runs over his previous 5 starts combined. Bauers hit an RBI single in Milwaukee's 4-run 4th inning. He connected for his 7th homer in the 5th, a 3-run drive to right that gave the Brewers an 8-0 lead. Bauers is batting .438, 14 for 32, with 2 homers and 8 RBIs during a 9-game hitting streak. Dansby Swanson hit a 2-run homer for the Cubs, who dropped 2 of 3 against the crosstown White Sox over the weekend. Michael Busch had 2 hits, including a run-scoring double. Brewers righty Brandon Sproat surrendered 3 runs and 3 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Shane Drowan is 2-1 and replaced Sproat in the 5th and pitched 4 1/3 innings of 4-hit ball for the win. Jacob Misiorowski is 3-2 with a 2.12 ERA and will start on Tuesday night for Milwaukee. And fellow right-hander Ben Brown pitches for Chicago with a 1-1 record and a 1.60 ERA. Victor Wembanyama had 41 points and 24 rebounds. Dylan Harper finished with 24 points and a team playoff record 7 steals. And the San Antonio Spurs beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 122-115 in a double overtime classic to open the Western Conference Finals Monday night. Wembanyama sealed it with a pair of dunks in the final minute, one of them leading to a 3-point play as the Spurs stole home court advantage and beat the Thunder for the 5th time in 6 meetings this season. Stephen Castle had 17 points. Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson each scored 13, and Julian Champagny added 11 for the Spurs, who were without De'Aaron Fox because of ankle stiffness. Alex Caruso scored 31 points, the second highest scoring game of his career off the bench for the Thunder, whose 9-game playoff winning streak dating back to Game 7 of last season's finals was snapped. Jalen Williams returned from a 6-game absence caused by a hamstring strain and scored 26 points for the Thunder, while Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, on the night he got his second straight MVP trophy, had 24 points and 12 assists, but shot 7 for 23. It was the 6th game won in NBA playoff history to go into double overtime, the first since a Spurs-Warriors game in 2013. And as the clock ticked toward midnight, Wembanyama decided enough was enough. Game 2 is Wednesday at Oklahoma City. The Spurs were up by 10 with 9 minutes and 10 seconds left in regulation, wasted it all, then survived a frantic final stretch where the lead changed hands twice and the game was tied 3 times in the span of less than 2 minutes. Wembanyama had an off-balance chance to win it on the last play of regulation, but Chet Holmgren swatted it away. In overtime, Wembanyama more than atoned, connecting on a tying 3-pointer from well behind the arc with 28 seconds left to tie the game and send it to a second overtime. Gilgeous-Alexander had his worst first half shooting-wise in nearly 3 years, 1 for 5 from the field with 4 points. It was the first time since October 29th, 2023, in a span of 270 appearances, including the playoffs, that he didn't have at least 2 field goals before halftime. Meanwhile, Wembanyama was doing whatever he wanted, dunking over trios of defenders, flexing at times, finishing the half with 14 points and 10 rebounds, looking perfectly comfortable in his debut on this stage. And the Spurs' lead was only 7 at the break, 51-44. Gilgeous-Alexander got a couple of shots to fall in the third, and the Thunder even briefly reclaimed the lead, but the Spurs were unfazed and the margin was still 7. San Antonio was ahead 80-73 going into the fourth. First Tampa, now Buffalo. The Montreal Canadiens forward Alex Newhook keeps coming up big in Game 7s. The 25-year-old scored his second 7th-game series clincher of the playoffs, this time 11 minutes and 22 seconds into overtime, in the 3-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres on Monday night. After Buffalo's Tage Thompson and captain Rasmus Dahlin misplayed the puck at Montreal's blue line, defenseman Andre Carrier drove up the right wing before sending a cross-ice pass, hitting Newhook in stride, entering the Buffalo zone. Just before reaching the top of the left circle, and with line-mate Jake Evans flashing in front of goalie Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Newhook snapped a shot just inside the far right post. Montreal won despite squandering a 2-0 first-period lead, with Dahlin forcing overtime by scoring 6 minutes and 27 seconds into the third period. The Canadiens advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they'll face the well-rested Hurricanes in a series set to open at Carolina on Thursday. The Hurricanes have swept each of their first 2 series and have been off since a 3-2 overtime win against Philadelphia on May 9th. Philip Denault and Zachary Bulldog also scored for the Canadians. Dobes finished with 37 saves and bouncing back after allowing 6 goals on 33 shots in an 8-3 loss on Game 6 on Saturday. Jordan Greenway also scored for Buffalo, while Luukkonen finished with 22 saves. This is the first playoff meeting between the two teams since Carolina beat Montreal in 6 games of a 2006 first-round series. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Miami Marlins shut out the Atlanta Braves 12-0, while the Tampa Bay Rays took down the Baltimore Orioles 16-6. The Philadelphia Phillies edged out the Cincinnati Reds 5-4, while the Cleveland Guardians beat the Detroit Tigers 8-2. The New York Mets routed the Washington Nationals, but not till the end of it, winning 16-7 in 12 innings, while the New York Yankees beat the Toronto Blue Jays 7-6. The Boston Red Sox took down the Kansas City Royals 3-1, while the Minnesota Twins beat the Houston Astros 6-3. The Colorado Rockies took down the Texas Rangers 7-6, while the LA Angels beat the Athletics 2-1. The San Diego Padres beat the LA Dodgers 1-0, and the Arizona Diamondbacks routed the San Francisco Giants 12-2. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
SIU Center for Family Medicine is here to help with back to school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Hey everyone, Paul